Hey guys, you're listening to the Your Party People podcast. This is Lexi Tran, owner of Ivory and Fern, a Midwest-based photographer.
And this is Katie Murphy, owner of Jane Ray Events, your Midwest wedding planner. We're here to give you couples a guide on how to maneuver one of the best days of their lives and how to keep it from being one of the worst. Welcome to the party.
Woo woo! Hey guys, episode 2 here. I'm Lexi.
And I'm Katie.
It's Your Party People with your exclusive wedding podcast. Last time we chatted a little bit about how weddings are one of the biggest investments you're going to make in your lifetime. This time we are here to talk about bridal shows, go or no go. Should you go or should you not go?
Yes, and there are tons of bridal shows going on all over the place, but locally here in South Dakota, we have one coming up this weekend on the 21st, the Sioux Empire Wedding Network bridal show.
Yes, absolutely. Shout out to Mr. Jason Yoshino, who hosts that show. It's always a good one of the year, and I always look forward to going to it. So
yes, so do I. So we're going to start out with telling you like a little bit what to expect going to a bridal show. Like, should you go or not? First off, yes, you should go. It's all a part of like the bride and groom experience, about meeting all these vendors in person, and so we definitely think you should, but we'll give you a little insight on like what to expect, who to come with, all of that good stuff.
Right. Like, what is a bridal show? Like, let's just like really define, like, when you get engaged and you see all these events and all these tickets come through, like, why am I paying for a ticket to go to a bridal show? What is that? Well, I mean, if we break it down, it's a big room full of little square booths or big, dependent on like the vendor that has the booth. You literally set a booth up and you wait for couples and potential clients to walk through, and you either flag them down, chat them out, or you just people watch all day.
Yeah, and there are vendors from like photographers, videographers, caterers, bakeries, florists, wedding planners, like anything you can think of that you would need for your wedding, they are there. And it's back to that person-to-person thing. It's great to meet with them, see if you click with them, see if you vibe with them. And they are going to be really close with you on one of the most important days of your life. Right. So you really want to make sure you click. And I think even though like technology and social media is obviously huge for all of us today, but like that person-to-person thing, that's what's going to happen on your day. So this is a great opportunity to figure out if, you know, they're your pick.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like too, as a vendor, like, it's so scary as a bride to like go into this show and be like, oh my gosh, people are just going to be like yelling at me like to come to their booth and they just want me to pay them this money. But like as a vendor, it is almost more terrifying to like feel like you have to flag people down and say like, hey, come talk to me. I have something great to offer you. Like, I really just like am personally, like, I love to do shows because I just love making connections. And truthfully, I love the rush of giving the elevator pitch, like that 30-second, like, this is what I'm about. This is what I do. I hope you like vibe with my energy. Like, let's talk about what's your date. What are you looking for? That kind of thing. And I feel like it's so fun to have a booth because it's literally a representation of like who I am in this tiny little square. Like when me and Tommy were building our booth, I said, Tommy, I literally want our living room put in like a 10 by 10 square. Like, how do we do that? And I think it's so fun to see other vendors that like show up to these events and they like what they do, like what they choose to showcase and how they choose to represent themselves. I just think it's such a great marketing tool, not only for us, but for brides and grooms and like just couples in general, even relatives that come out with them, to just like experience different vendors. Because how often is it that you're going to find these vendors on Google or Facebook? Like, it's a slimmer chance that you're going to find them. Like, how are you going to find like Jane Ray Events, like just by Googling it, if you don't already know your name or have that connection? So like, I almost feel like sometimes bridal shows can act as like a hole in the wall, like kind of like a secret hidden spot, right? Like you walk through and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about having the trolley as my bus in between my venues downtown. Like, that would be so cool. Or like Nothing Bundt Cake. They're amazing. Their cakes are so good, but who thinks of having a bundt cake instead of like an actual like 2-3 tier cake? Like, no one thinks about that until they're like walking through and they're like, oh my gosh, that sample was the most delicious dessert I have ever had in my life. Like, that's what I want. You never would have found that if you wouldn't have just taken the chance to like go out and find it.
Right. And I know it can like sound a little daunting, like all of these vendors all in one room. And like maybe you're the type of person, honestly, more like me, that I'm like, okay, if I want to talk to you, I'm going to approach you.
Right.
Like, don't come at me, you know?
Please don't
So
chase me.
like maybe I would recommend just going through the whole show, like walking in the middle of the aisle, you know, nothing too close to the edges, and just kind of getting a feel for it first.
Yeah.
And then maybe that second round, like saying like, okay, I'm going to approach them. I saw them the first time. Like, I'm going to come back and chat with them, and just keeping an open mind. Like, even if you have some vendors booked already, let's say you already have your videographer, but you're going and there's a videographer there,
Right.
like just keeping an open mind and talking with them. And like, they may say something that like you didn't think of,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
like looking at their booth, like, oh, I really like
Right.
their color scheme, or
Yeah.
I really like, you know, that
Yeah.
type of video. And just you're there for ideas, but you're also there to make a connection.
Right. And
So-
I feel like on the vendor side of that too, like we don't like, obviously we hope to book people when they come out there, but like I never have the intentions of like every person I meet has to book me. It's always like, I want
right,
you to
right.
find what's best for you. And I'm just here to offer you almost like an elimination process, right? So like if you meet me and you're like not vibing, now you know people that are like me or people that, you know, have a similar style maybe is not for you. And now that's quick, easy, it's done.
Right.
You didn't have to do all this research online. It was like a one-stop shop almost, where like you can walk through and you say, no, that caterer doesn't have the kind of food that I want. And if they don't offer it, then you can find out right then and there. You don't have to like call 1,000 different people and like send 1,000 different emails. This kind of like provides like a really quick and easy way
Yes.
to get your foot in the door to other vendors that might be a potential fit, or find the vendors that are the perfect fit for you. I feel like it's just, yeah, it's just so simple.
It does. And like a lot of the vendors at the show know each other and have worked with each other too. So talking with a vendor, and you know, they may ask you like, who else are you looking for today? I always like to ask that question.
Right.
Like, who are you looking for? A photographer, a caterer? I could maybe help steer you, you know, to
Right.
somebody that I think would be a great fit for you.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a little wedding planner too,
Right.
like connecting you to who, after listening to like what you want on your day and like what your color palette is, what your you know, what
Yeah.
your vibe is, they could help direct you to other people there. So
Yeah, I feel like Tommy and I always do that too. At the end of every person we meet at the booth, we're like, hey, is there anyone else you're looking for? Like, we have friends all over here.
Yeah.
Like, let us send you that way. If you don't, we always tell people to come back, because I feel like people go to a booth and then they feel like they can't come back if they come up with more questions, or like if they feel like they want to talk to us more. I feel like people are so scared to come back, and I'm like, no, the fact that you came back is like one of my favorite parts. The fact that you had questions, even if you don't book me, the fact that you even had more questions that you need an answer for makes me feel like I've helped you at least half
Yeah,
of the way.
totally.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
totally right. So let's say, okay, we've never attended a bridal show before. What do we need to kind of prep for? Who should we bring with us? Like, what should we have in mind?
Yeah.
Let's say I talked to a lot of people actually that got engaged like a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
and they're attending the show, which is so exciting, because you're like riding that high of the
Yes.
engagement still, and that's so fun. And it's never too early to go.
Right,
I wouldn't
never.
say you can go and just to get ideas, but I would say it's good to have a wedding date, or at least have a couple dates. Wouldn't you say,
Yes.
Lexi? Like,
Yeah, at least like have like the month solidified, like, or the year. Like, I feel like a lot of people are so excited just to get out there and see that they don't even think like, oh, I need availability, because a lot of these vendors are so excited to book you, but if you don't have your
But,
date,
yeah.
that leaves it really wide open, where like we can't promise you that you're going to get the date that you want. And some people are flexible about that, but some people really pick a date for a specific reason, or you know, have a certain season that they want. And so like if you don't have that solidified, it just makes it a lot more overwhelming than it needs to be.
Right.
And I feel like I just feel like a month or even a season is like even good to have. Like, even if you can't figure out the day, a year, a month, or a season is all we need to like really like solidify, because a lot of the times when you leave a bridal show, you are exhausted. It is
Yes.
so exhausting, because you use all that mental and social energy,
Mm-hmm.
and then like you have eaten all these samples, which are all just wonderful things, but you're so tired now because you've walked all morning, you've eaten all these snacks, and now you're like, now I have this bag full of information, and I just want to take a nap. I don't even want to open this bag right now. I just want to sleep. And so, yeah, it's so easy to get overwhelmed, I feel like, at these shows.
Yeah. It is, but that's why I'm going back to like keeping an open mind.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
just taking notes, taking pictures,
Yeah.
honestly snapping those pictures and seeing what you like and don't like, and 100% come hungry, because there are some great samples for that, and Nothing Bunt, I gotta get a shout out to them. They're one of my favorites, to be honest. And they're not always like thought of for the traditional like wedding cake or guest desserts.
I know, it's making me hungry right now.
Things like that. Yeah. Speaking of being hungry, we're going to take a little break.
Yeah.
And let's listen to our girl, Ashley Anderson, for a quick this or that. And we'll be back.
Yes. Ashley, where you at?
Hey, it's Ashley with This or That. Today, we're actually just talking about a tip regarding specifically buying items on Facebook Marketplace. This can be an incredible resource for those of you who are planning your wedding, but ultimately, the items that you buy, just remember you won't be able to get your money back necessarily from those items. So the individual who you're purchasing from has already purchased that item from somewhere else. So they're already selling the item at a discounted rate. And then when you purchase from them, you'll be selling again at another discounted rate. So keep that in mind. Again, any items that you bring to your wedding and set up yourself, you're going to have to tear down at the end of the night. So keep that in mind as well. You're asking your friends and family to be a part of your celebration and then asking them to work a little bit at the end of the night. So if you can find another way, I think that's great too, but ultimately do whatever is comfortable for you and your budget.
All right, we're back, and guess what? It's St. Patty's Day, and Lexi, I don't see any of that green on you.
My baby was born in March, and I forgot.
Well, you know what? I mean, I'm wearing green, so pinch for you.
Yeah. Social distance. Social distance pinch.
Yeah. So bridal shows. Let's jump back into that. Who should we attend with?
Yeah. I feel like I don't see enough fiancés. I feel like I always see one part of the couple, and I'm like, where's your person at? Like, I wanna get to know both of you. Like, and I understand, like, sometimes it is more of like I feel like a bride driven event because they're excited and there's all these things and the planning. And I feel like Tommy loved going. I feel like a lot of like grooms specifically miss out because they don't realize there's free food. And a lot of the time there are free drinks as well. Like, you can have a drink and you can be drinking and like you don't even really need to make any decisions. I feel like a lot of people feel they have to go to this show and pay all this money and make a decision. And that is not what these shows are for at all. These shows are meant to be like a free-for-all idea brainstorming session for couples. And so to come and eat and just like, I just want to see more full couples. I don't want to see half the couple. I want to see both your beautiful faces. You know what I mean? Like, especially, it's just so important.
Totally. Let's see the grooms. We want to see, and honestly, it's better to book a vendor with both the bride and groom there. You both want to connect with them and see them, and also like the maid of honor is good, or a best friend, you know, sister, mom, whoever else, just kind of somebody to gather information with you, and maybe hold your bag, hold the giveaway, hold the free stuff too. And it's it's all about the experience. Like, this is not just a time to like, let's just go information, check all the boxes and do this stuff. It's a time to like, this is a part of being engaged. It's a part of the planning process. Soak this part up. It's a really fun thing to do. And at the end, you'll be full and maybe a little exhausted because it is a lot of chatting with people and a lot of information and thinking about the big day. But it's such a fun time.
I know. I always say it's fun to like make it a date. Like, go eat and then like go walk around some downtown, or like go do some errands, or take the rest of the day to just like embrace each other before you get married, because it is such a big step. And like, you're taking your first step really into that realm of like the industry, which to us is so like relaxed because it's what we do. But for like couples, it's like it's so overwhelming to walk into a big space like that and be like, oh, all these people want me to book them. What do I do? Who do I talk to? And so like, when you have that support system there, that's there too. I feel like a best friend or maid of honor is super important because they can help you like ground you, right? Like bring you back down. Like, hey, this is great, but remember, you don't have to make any decisions right now. Like, hey, I love that you want to do this, but don't feel like you have to put that deposit down right now. Like, you can take time to think about it. And like we always say too, like, go home, chat it over, like make sure that we are absolutely the right fit for you, because don't make an impulse decision and then regret it later. Like, really take the time to be overwhelmed. I say embrace it. Be overwhelmed, let it happen, go home, take a nap, pull all your stuff back out and say, actually, okay, who did we really enjoy? Who did we really feel like we had a genuine connection with? And I feel like that's so important too.
Yeah, and that can help with like being intimidated or being daunting going to the show, because you don't like have to book there. And a lot of vendors have like coupons or prizes or something that as long as you met with them at the show, you can take it with you and later on book with them, and you get a percentage off or get, I know that's what we do. We do like a tear down percentage off or something like that. So at bare minimum, just get somebody's card or get their brochure or sign up for, you know, a prize. If you don't feel like, you know, really diving in and talking with them, like at least do that, because that's the benefit of going to the show. And prizes for sure. I know the Sue Empire Wedding Network, they have a bunch of like honeymoon, like travel, giveaways with that, and it's always different every time. But why not enter in for a prize? I mean, we talked about the last episode, the biggest investment. Anywhere you can save a buck is great. So sign up for that prize.
I mean, free stuff. Like, just come for the. I mean, like, yeah, you'll pay for a ticket, but it's free food, it's free stuff, it's a free experience. Like, everything about it is just so honest and so genuine that you might as well just go. Even if you don't book anyone from the show, that's fine. At least you figured out, like, even like a general price range, right? Like we talked, like, how do you know how much to spend on this person or that person? Like, if you know who your top three are, your top three vendors, I want a DJ, a photographer, and cake. You can go there and you can kind of get a feel and kind of like say, oh, okay, they're generally charging this much. I feel like that's a fair price. I feel like that fits within our budget. Like, it just is an extra step to like really solidify where you want to be and who you want to work with.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're talking about at the bare minimum, like if you're just getting ideas and just engage. Let's talk about the other part of it. So let's say I know I need to book a photographer today, or I know I need to book a caterer today. So they have a list of vendors who are there at the show. And so come up with a game plan and be more direct with it. Then you don't have to feel like, oh, this is going to be a full day thing. Like, I really just want to go there to meet this person. Make that your plan, right? And just go to their booths or go to a couple booths and talk with them. It's a great opportunity to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like too, speaking to like you guys, my feelings are never hurt when you walk by and you say, nope, I already have you. Like, I already have a photographer. That's fine. Like, sometimes I honestly like to do the shows just because I like to talk to new people, and I like to. Who doesn't love weddings? Who doesn't love to just like hear an engagement story or hear like what their plans are, what their dreams are for their wedding? Like, I honestly just love doing that, like dreaming and that mood boarding up with people, even if like they end up finding someone else that feels like it's a better fit for them. Absolutely. There's no hard feelings. And I feel like some people feel like vendors are hurt when they don't want to book with them. And that is never the case. Like, I always feel like it's best, like just all the time, like, you need to find who is the best fit for you. Like, you are investing so much money in their service or their product. Like, you need to, like, what do you do when you go on Amazon? You read the reviews. Like, you're like, okay, is this product like actually going to provide what I need from it? And it's the same thing with vendors. It's just a way bigger ticket price. And so I feel like these shows can be overwhelming in a fact that, yes, it is a sticker shock, right? Like, you're literally getting handed something most of the time that has a price on it, or you're getting told all these numbers and you're like, whoa, like, that was a lot. Like, I really like these three vendors, but that's way over what we can do. So what do I do now? And then it's like, it's just, where do you go from there? And I feel like it's so important to just remember that it doesn't have to be right then and there.
Right. Yeah. So let's say you're engaged.
Yeah.
How would you kind of go through a bridal show? Would you like have something mapped out? Would you kind of, what would be your game plan and thoughts about it, knowing from being a vendor and then from coming in, let's say you're engaged right now?
Yeah. So if I were prospective bride in 2021, I would try to go in with no plan. I feel like, me personally, because I feel like if I were to set a goal, like, hey, I'm going to book this, that would be the one thing that I don't do, because that's just like how my brain works. I would just avoid it at all costs. Like, I feel like I would want to see all my options before I try to make any choices. Like, I feel like if I was like already halfway through my planning and I did only need 1 or 2 things, I would still go into that show with the mindset that I was just going to roam and meet and like eat and enjoy myself, because I feel like that makes it less stressful to just like come in with like an open mind. And like, if I'm booking specifically just like a DJ, I'm going to do those booths first. I'm going to make the overwhelming part happen first, and then I'm going to take the rest of the time to just relax and coast. Yeah. And then maybe I'll have more time at the end that I'll have more questions. I'll go back to that DJ that I really, really can't stop thinking about, right? Like, it's when you go dress shopping and you're like, gosh, I've been to 3 stores, but I keep thinking about this one dress from this one store. I feel like you don't realize that you do that until it's like been at least an hour, like, right? So like you spend that whole time at the show and you just wander around and you're like, gosh, that DJ was really cool. I think I'm going to go talk to him one more time. And then like, you're like, oh, now I for sure know, like, you are the person that I want. You're my person kind of thing.
Did you and Tommy go to one?
Yeah, we did actually. We had pretty much everything booked. And when we went, actually, we almost booked the trolley.
You did.
Because the trolley was parked there. And we were like, that is so cool. We were like, we did not want to do a party bus. All of our stuff was in one venue downtown. So we were like, we don't need it. But we were like, could we do the trolley bus? Because that would be so cool to just ride on that for an hour. We didn't actually end up doing it because it was like an impulsive thing, right? So like we went home, we were like, no, we don't actually want that. We don't need that. But in the moment, it seems so cool and you're so hyped up. And obviously, like, shout out to the Rolling Pin. We love the Rolling Pin. And every time we go to the show, we have to eat at the Rolling Pin because we just love the food there. But yeah, we went with some friends that weren't actually engaged. They were just dating. They just came with us and we just like roamed around and kind of just made it like a double date kind of thing and just like hung out and looked around. And then after we left, actually, we felt really solidified in the deposits we had already made. Like, we met the photographers that were there and we liked them, but we're like, Corey was definitely our person. We were like, that show really just made us feel more confident in the choices we had already made. And so I feel like that was good too, because it didn't make us think like, oh, could we have, what if we did? Like, it really like solidified everything for us.
Yeah, I actually see a lot of my brides that I've already booked, bride and grooms. And so it's so fun to like, yes, have that initial meeting, but then check in with them again and being like, I'm so excited for your planning. And it's kind of like, I would think as a bride and groom, like, it gives me like a sense of like confidence to see them there and see them in action. My vendors who I booked, like you said already, but I like thinking back how I would be. I have to agree with you. I don't know if I could like make the decision to book with somebody right there. Right. I'm such a I have to like, okay, what are all my options? Let me think about this. Yes. But I have to say I'm a little opposite of you. I would come in with like, okay, here's my plan. Here's my checklist. I'm a planner, so it's natural to me. It makes sense. But I would come in and be like, I am talking to this, this, and this. But then I agree. I would come around back and be like, okay, now I'm just going to kind of float around, enjoy, maybe have a third bundt cake tasting and see you.
Pretend like I wasn't just at your booth 5 more times.
I've never had this before. And taste it again. But we definitely would love to see you guys this weekend. Yes, we'll both be there. And we're so excited for that. And it's definitely a go. Definitely should go and experience it.
Absolutely go. Even if you don't do anything, absolutely go.
Yeah. So back to the wine. We need
we've got a rosé. Well, I've got a mimosa now, but earlier we were drinking a nice little rosé over here. What is it called?
It's called Keller Bricks and Roses.
Bricks and Roses.
Nice, rosé. We're trying to bring in that summer earlier. So
melt the snow.
Yeah, so thank you guys for listening to us today, and we'll see you next time on our next episode.
Yes.
So thank you. Bye. Thanks for listening to the Your Party People podcast. If you already love us, make sure to come back to the party every other Wednesday.
If you really love us, follow us on Instagram and Facebook at It's Your Party People Podcast. And make sure to let us know your thoughts on the show and if you have any topics you want us to cover in a future episode. DM us on Instagram or email us at yourpartypeoplepodcast@gmail.com and maybe we'll give you a shout out on the next episode. See you at the next party.
Bye.